On December 11, 2024, the Russian cargo vessel Ursa Major left the port of Saint Petersburg. Officially, she was bound for the Russian Far East, a cargo mission, nothing more. But as the ship entered European waters, she was already being watched. Out on the open sea, Ursa Major moved south through grey water and cold weather. Far behind her, Russian naval presence remained close enough to matter. Near the Portuguese coast, the vessel was monitored by the Portuguese Coast Guard. No warning, no intervention, just observation. Her route was long and deliberate. From St. Petersburg, through the Baltic Sea, through the English Channel, down the Atlantic coast, past Portugal, and toward the western Mediterranean. Then, off the coast of Spain, between Cartagena and Algeria, the pattern broke. Inside a Spanish maritime control center, operators saw the ship change course. Ursa Major slowed, then drifted, then disappeared into uncertainty. Moments later, an explosion tore through the engine room. On the bridge, red emergency lights filled the air. Radios cracked. Radar screens glowed. The crew fought to understand what had happened. Outside, Spanish rescue teams moved in. 14 Russian crew members were pulled from the water and brought aboard. 2 others were less fortunate. Their bodies were never found. Behind them, Ursa Major was still afloat, but wounded, slowly dying. Then another ship arrived. The Russian landing ship Ivan Gren steamed toward the scene. On its bridge, the commander demanded that other vessels move away. The message was clear. This was now a Russian matter. Soon after, Ivan Gren fired red signal flares into the sky. 4 lights over a black sea. A warning, a distraction, or a signal to someone unseen. Below the surface, Ursa Major began her final descent. She rolled into the dark water, shedding bubbles, fragments, and wreckage as she sank. Spanish fishermen saw only faint flashes beyond the horizon. No fire, no wreckage, just light against the clouds. In Moscow, the official version came quickly, a terrorist attack. But the questions did not stop. Weeks later, the Russian intelligence ship Yantar circled above the wreck site. While in Spain, the Russian captain was questioned. What was really on board? What was hidden behind the cargo manifest? Attention turned to 2 heavy containers on the aft deck, unregistered, unexplained. According to the emerging theory, they were not ordinary cargo. They may have contained VM-4SG nuclear reactor housings, components associated with submarine reactor systems, allegedly intended for 2 North Korean submarines under construction. At the dock, they may have been waiting for these very reactor housings that never arrived. Above the Mediterranean, a U.S. Air Force WC-135 Constant Phoenix crossed the sea. The aircraft is known as a nuclear sniffer. Its mission is to collect particles from the atmosphere, searching for traces of nuclear material, radioactive debris, or evidence of an undeclared nuclear event. What was it doing there? Then came the deep-sea images. Unmanned submersibles found damage to the hull. Metal forced inward, a focused impact. A signature some analysts believed was consistent with a high-speed, supercavitating, armor-piercing torpedo, possibly a Barracuda-type system. If true, this was no accident. In Washington, President Biden was briefed behind closed doors. And in Pyongyang, one man watched the storm gather in silence. Because the sinking of Ursa Major was not just the end of a ship, it was the beginning of a question no government wanted to answer. What was Russia carrying? Who knew about it? Who stopped it? And how close did the world come to finding out?